All right, we're going live a few minutes early just to make sure we've worked out all the kinks and it is working and all that good stuff. So this next, oh, if someone just saw a back out flank, oh, delete comment. Yeah, that's old. That's an automatic comment from a long time ago when we're doing outflanked. Definitely not current. All right, so I am just going. I'm just trying to wait and make sure it shows up on the Facebook app as going live.
But if you do want a copy of Outflanked, you can get it from our website. It's a very fun game.
Okay, good. It's showing live now on Facebook. Okay.
I'm getting all those security notifications because I connected to to YouTube.
All right. Oh, cool. Oh, okay. So the Raven in Lawrence, is that Lawrence, Kansas? MDC Pool says, and Lawrence K's Kansas. I'm guessing that's Kansas. That's so cool. So wait a minute. Which book did you just get, MDC Pool? Was it the new T.D. Hunter books, or is that like my Lily Singer books, or what? And then apparently someone is shocked that you're named Droopy. Early bird gets the worms. Is that a quote from the Droopy cartoon?
That's a quote from the dog. It's
okay.
It's an old high school nickname.
Yeah.
For those of you that are watching, Lydia knows the story because she's been married.
Yes.
But
yes.
The short of it is that I was Droopy was the dog on TV that no matter how unlikely it looked, he always ended up with the girl, and I was the kid in high school that always ended up with the girl.
This is a lovely, gigantic Sir Kipling mug that you can grab on my website if interested. I'm trying to turn it very carefully so I don't spill tea on my keyboard. This is a giant mug. I think this is a it's not a 30-ounce mug. I think this is a 20-ounce mug. But I like big mugs, and I cannot lie. I can't drink from small mugs.
We also have stickers you can get for your water bottles.
We put stickers on all our... My kids put stickers on everything. Oh my gosh. If anyone wants to check out any of the books, here, let me put a link for...
Normally I have something like fun and exciting, like something I'm working on that I can show in these, and I don't have anything around.
All right, I assume. All right, so this is a link for anyone who has not yet gotten a copy of T.D. Hunter 3, Behind the Veil. I should be able to pin this. What?
Such a good book.
Oh, there we go. Star it. There we go. Star. All right. Hopefully the star means it's going to stay. Okay, starred. All right. Oh, no.
Times I'm going to have to tell Google.
All right. There's no way for me to pin a comment to stay at the top. That would be useful, but there is not. But I'll put it in the comment stream a couple times throughout the live stream so people can see it if they need it. And then if anyone wanted to check out any other books, it's just store.lydiasherrer.com. Pretty easy to find. So it is 9:01, so I'm probably going to go ahead and get started since it is the starting time and there are people here. I have some questions that people sent me beforehand and posted in comments, stuff like that. And so I could start answering some of those, but I also really wanted to answer live comments. I'm most interested in answering your live comments to make sure I get to you guys since you showed up and are watching and are hanging out with us. So
put your questions in chat.
Yes, put your questions in chat. Hi, Julian. Put your questions in chat and I will answer them in the order that they appear. And I will try to get to all of them. And I think I probably will. I can answer questions way faster than you guys can ask them. There's not enough people here to ask questions faster than I can answer them, which means more people should show up. While people are thinking of questions and putting them in the comments, I wanted to show off, for anyone who has not heard of it, my very cool Lily Singer's tea cabinet, Faye Fox tea, which is available on my website. I launched that in May, I think. And I'm actually drinking it right now in my mug because it's a delightful rooibos tea. Rooibos is a non-caffeinated leaf that still has like kind of the full-bodied taste of black tea. And with the rooibos, there's also chamomile, flowers, peppermint leaves, and natural vanilla flavor. And so it has a really nice, smooth taste, but with a little bit of pep in it that just tastes really great. So I drink it all hours of the day and night. And if you like tea, you might enjoy that too. You can grab that on my website. All right, let's see here. Hi, Greg McPherson. Hi, Cindy Franklin. Evan Waters. Yes, that is a challenge. I challenge you guys for more people to show up and ask me more questions to see if you can ask more questions than I can answer them before the end of the thing. Yes, Cindy. Cindy says she missed the tea. Yes, there is tea. It is available on my website. It is very tasty. Very, very, very tasty. I'm supposed to be selling it instead I'm drinking it. So if you could go on my website and buy some so that I can actually sell it instead of drinking all of it myself. Because it's very good, and I drink it pretty regularly. So
if we're in the shameless plug section of our show,
yeah,
my newest game is called Outflanked. You can play as Sir Edgar Allan Kipling, magical talking cat extraordinaire, or all of the other stars of the Lily Singer, Love Lies, and Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Greg likes your shirt, David. David designed that logo, so. All right, Kathy Rouleau is here. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. In case anyone's wondering, my mother is here, so I better not use any strong language. We got to keep things PC here. Hi, Mom. I have amazing parents. They're big fans. I honestly wonder sometimes why they care, but it's obviously, I guess, because they love me. I'm going to assume. Also, my mom bugs me constantly for more books. So I'm assuming that she likes what I read because she also tries to steal books from me before I'm done with them. So,
yep.
Larry, I will not be rubbing your tummy anytime soon, but thank you for the offer. Julian, you may get caffeine elsewhere, but you should still enjoy my tea, even though there's no caffeine.
We don't have any questions yet in the chat. We have,
I have questions.
A challenge? How did I miss this? Which are not really questions I can write down on my list and ask you.
Well, MDC Pool asked, I want to know how the survey for the name of a future character is going. So I'm going to have to ask for clarification from MDC Pool because I'm not sure which survey for which future character. If you're talking about the most recent survey on Patreon, which was for a name for a monster from the TD Hunter world, a cat-themed monster from the TD Hunter world, then I can answer that. But I'm not quite sure which survey you're talking about. Evan Waters says, but I love it when someone asks an extremely inappropriate question. You guys can ask whatever questions you want. My mother is a married woman of many years with 4 children, so she probably has seen it all.
Oh, so I got a question. Somebody wants me to
real quick, let me finish. MDC Pool. Yes, so to clarify, he's asking about the cat monster. So I picked the most popular pick was Meowthra, based off of the not kanji, the
is that Mothra?
the kaiju, yeah, Meowthra.
Yeah, but
yes,
it's like
based
a play
after
on Mothra, right?
Yes, it is. So a lot of people like that, probably because people are familiar with kaiju and Godzilla and that. But a couple of them made the point that it was a little bit too campy and too on the nose. And also a couple people said that they really wanted to see the Easter egg from one of John Ringo's books, which was Thrathputz. It's like a hiss from a cat. All the names of this cat humanoid race sound like cat sounds. It's really hilarious. So we went with Thrathputz, which is the name of a general. David, that's really loud. That's really loud. You stirring with your spoon.
Is me stirring my tea?
Yes. Yes, it is very loud. So we went with Thrathputz. The other options were Catpalog, which is the name of a monster, an island monster. I can't remember the details. And then Cthulhu, which I really like. Cthulhu.
I'm gonna have to remember all these names for my next game, because
which would have been fun. But again, people really wanted to see the Easter egg, and I thought that was a really cool thing to kind of stick in the books. So, all right, so we answered that question. Next one is from Mary Malucci. I hope I said that right, Malucci. A question about Outflanked. Okay, David, you got to answer this. You see the question from Mary about Outflanked?
Yeah, but we didn't. So Prim Moore wanted to explain the name of Chenoweth Games.
Oh, yes. Go for it.
So Chenoweth Games is named after Chenoweth Press. So I went over like a lot of really dumb names, trying to figure out what I wanted to name my game company. And I was almost Prospector Games, because I just wanted to draw like a little prospector man with like a pickaxe and a hat and use that as the logo. And then somebody, like, I asked a young kid about it, and he's like, "That sounds dumb." And I was like, "Oh, well, all right." My Steam is just gone. And like, I wasn't really attached to the name. And then it just struck me. I was like, why don't I just call it Chenoweth Games? Since Chenoweth Press is the book company that we own. And Chenoweth is the name of the farm my wife grew up on.
Yes. Yeah. So it is the name of the farm, but it's the name of the farm because of a spring that runs through the farm that was called Chenoweth Springs.
Yep, I was about to get that.
So sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know the story better than I do. So the reason that I called it Chenoweth Games is because our publishing company is Chenoweth Press. Chenoweth Games seemed to fit. That way, you know that we're like together. And I like being associated with my wife because she's beautiful and amazing, and I love her, and I married her because she's beautiful and amazing.
Yeah, guys, if you recall what Sebastian thinks about Lily and what Edgar thinks about Lynn, I have good. Here we go. This way. There we go. I have good study. Oh, pregnant brain. What's the word I'm looking for? I have a good example for how that works.
Basically, anything romantic said in any of Lydia's books by a guy was probably something I said.
Not everything. Well, some things for sure. Some things.
Most.
David says disgustingly adorable things about me all the time. So if any of you guys like start feeling like sugar in your mouth or something, that's why. Any relation to Kristen Chenoweth? No, unfortunately. I mean, I don't actually know who Kristen Chenoweth is, but no, it's not related to anybody. Okay, so
Greg McPherson, you could get this shirt on our website. I do believe it is on sale at lydiasherrer.com.
Yes, you can get it. In fact, David, why don't you go ahead and look that link up? Robin Marciniak asked if TD Hunter 3 Behind the Veil is going to be on audio, and yes, of course, all major books that I put out are going to be on audio. Audio usually comes out 3 to 4 months after the hardback and ebook release. When the book is released, it is sold to Audible, or Audible acquires the audio rights, and they assign a narrator to it, and it starts being produced. For this one, keeping the same narrator meant that we had to delay things a little bit because she was already busy with some of her time slots. So it should be, I have heard, up by November, fingers crossed. But definitely before the end of the year, probably sometime in November, the audiobook should be coming out. So I want to hop back in to 2 previous questions. Okay. Mary asked, did you answer the one about Outflanked? No, David, you need to answer the one about Flanked. If you go to the starred under the comments, you'll see that I starred the one about Outflanked. You see that?
Yeah, David? So it's both. It has to be both orthogonal and an arrow has to be pointing to it. It's not one or the other. It has to be both. Does that answer your question, Mary?
Yeah, I would say so. So she was just trying to figure out, the whole point of the strategy is that both conditions have to be met for each placement. It both has to be orthogonal to one of your cards. So that's up, down, left, right. And an arrow from someone's card has to be pointing at that space.
I cannot post links in our chat.
Okay. Well, then I guess I will look it up.
I got it. I can send it to you on Facebook.
I'm not on Facebook so that I don't have lag stuff going on. I can look it up on our website. I know how our website works. So
John Huff asked, "Where am I? Who are all you people? And what are you doing on my computer?" Um, I was hoping I would think of something funny to say before I got to this point, but I have not. So just think I said some, pretend I said something witty, and we'll just move on.
Yep. So the next question is from Greg McPherson. When I started this series or the other series, do I draw a complete outline from start to finish and then write certain points? Or is my process more fluid when you have an idea to start, but then just it flows as it goes? So the Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus universe and the series in it and the T.D. Hunter universe have two distinct two distinct answers for that. Because the T.D. Hunter with John Ringo, he came up with the original conceptualization. And so it wasn't something that I came to, that it wasn't an idea that began in my brain. And so my path to the finish, so to speak, was a little bit different. With the Lily Singer Adventure stuff, I guess come up with stuff with large overarching ideas and themes. Like I wanted to write a book series about a wizard librarian. But with that thought and thinking about like, well, what's it going to be about? I start thinking of big themes. What kind of journey do I want her to take? What kind of struggles and growth do I want her to have? What sort of topics do I want to wrestle with in the story and between the characters? And so I use the answers to those questions to help shape an outline and plot arcs, because it could depend on if most of the struggles are internal versus external, or if there's if it's a big sweeping world with a lot of travel and a lot of, different points of view and different characters, or if it's more like in a small town with, small town vibes. Like that kind of determines where I start with the big picture outline is what do I feel compelled and drawn and called to write about? What themes and what questions? And so with the Lily Singer adventures, I was very interested in the idea of redemption, in the idea of the hero's journey, not as a destiny, but a choice. So you'll notice throughout the Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus books that it's less about prophecy and destiny and more about there is a need and you have been put in this position to where you can take up the mantle and you are choosing to take up that mantle and fight that fight, for whatever reason. There are many different reasons people choose. So with the T.D. Hunter series, that was a situation where John came to me with an idea. He had an end goal in mind. He had an end scene in mind. And I outlined to fill in the how do we get from the beginning to the end. So all the stuff in the middle was me plotting out what's the logical path for how this is going to happen. And I outlined very big picture and then get a little bit more granular and more granular. So I'll do like books, and then within book chapters, and with a chapter, I'll do like bullet points for scenes. And that just guides me to help make sure I weave all my plot threads together and I don't leave any plot points dangling, stuff like that. So that is the question answer for Greg McPherson. I'm going to go through the comments real quick and star any more questions.
So Prim Moore asked, if given the opportunity, would Sebastian play T.D. Hunter?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you know what's funny? He would be all enthusiastic about playing it. And then he would realize that it was hot and tiring and made him sore, and he would probably lose enthusiasm for it pretty quick. He would think it would be like the coolest thing in the world. Now, I don't know. I'd probably have to write him playing it some to kind of get in his head and figure out what he was feeling about it before. Oh, John Huff says, got to get back to my classes for next semester. Just want to say hi. Hi, John. Love you, John. Bye, John. John Huff. So anyway, I'd have to get in Sebastian's head before I would know if there's a reason that might come up that he would keep doing it. If it was just for fun, he probably wouldn't do it very long for fun, because he is not a fan of exercise and getting hot and sweaty just as a form of, like, there's some people who get like the runner's high, or people like Mallory who it's been drilled in them for her entire life, and it's such a habit that going without it actually feels worse than doing it. Sebastian is not in that place. He has to definitely motivate himself to get out there and get his exercise and, work with Mallory and all that.
There's also his not being good with tech.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much that he's not good. So we would have to have a suspension of disbelief thing. Yes, he would have to have that. His presence breaks technology thing removed for him to play TD Hunter, because he literally wouldn't be able to play TD Hunter.
It would be buggy. He would get bored. I think that's
yeah, probably
the short of it. So Brian asked, what is your favorite con and why is it LibertyCon?
Well, LibertyCon is my favorite con because of the people who are there. So it's got lots of awesome people in it. And so I am highly motivated to like it because all my favorite people are there.
So what's your second favorite, since that was a leading question?
Well, I really enjoyed Superstars last February. That was a little bit of a unique situation, though, because David and I were faculty and we taught some classes, but it was super, super rewarding to get to teach a lot of the principles we've learned over the decade we've been doing this, and to give back to the community and to say things that helped us and have someone hear it and be like, oh man, that makes so much sense. I'm going to do that and it's going to fix things, right? So it's really awesome to get to improve people's lives that way and empower people with knowledge. And it's just, Superstars was full of amazingly kind, wonderful, welcoming, fun people. And I hope to go back, again in the future. We'll see how that works out. Timing was really rough, just with 4 kids at home. It was hard to be away for a whole week. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to do Superstars like every year back to back, but maybe we can go back every couple of years. So we'll see how that goes.
I think it's probably a good time to mention our 2 cons coming up, because we got 2 coming up.
Do you want to do that? Or do you want me to do that?
Well, we got Crash City, which we're guests of honor at, and I don't remember the dates on that. But we're going to be, it's our first convention that we're doing as guests of honor, where me and Lydia are both the spotlighted guest.
They got 2 in 1, 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah. They only had to pay for 1 hotel room. It was win-win for them.
Yeah. So we're guests of honor at Crash City Con in Roanoke, West Virginia. Roanoke, Virginia. And it is 2 weekends from now, the 22nd to the 24th, I believe. It is a tiny little con that has a lot of gaming focus. There's going to be games there. There's going to be panels on like role-playing games. There's going to be a live role-playing game that David plays in, and that apparently I'm being dragged into playing in as well.
There's going to be some Bane authors that are going to be there.
Yeah, there's going to be some Bane authors.
I think Jason Cordova, is he?
I believe he's coming. Rich Groller from LibertyCon should be there too.
And the weekend after that, or the week after that, because DragonCon is like
Wednesday to Monday,
5-day convention. Yeah. We'll be at DragonCon. You could find me on Friday and Saturday at 4 p.m. doing panels, because both of my panels that I'm doing are at 4 p.m. And other than that, I don't know Lydia's schedule, and I don't have my schedule pulled up.
DragonCon, we will create a graphic for our schedules, so anybody who's going to be there knows where we're going to be when. I'll probably post that next week. I'm finishing up TD Hunter 4 this week. If John gets me the words he owes me. He's been under the weather.
John's sick right now.
Yeah, so hopefully he feels better soon. But anyway, in the next week or so, I will get a schedule up for us at DragonCon. But I've got like 4 or 5 panels. David's got a couple panels. I've got a couple signings. I'm going to do a reading. There's going to be a fantasy fiction gather Friday night. There's going to be a lot of really fun stuff going on.
And you can probably find me every night at the Weston Bar if you want to hear me tell stories about crazy things. Up to and including parts of my body.
All right, we're not going to talk about right now, just because we have other more important things. All right, so I'm going back. I got to do these in order, so I don't. No,
Robin.
Nope.
Is Robin
Cindy,
not next?
Nope, Cindy. You got to go. I'm going backward further. Cindy Franklin asked, "Do you only focus on one series at a time, or do you get ideas for various stories? If the latter, what do you do to focus on your current series?" So one of my superpowers is my ability to focus. I'm kind of the opposite of ADD. ADD people can hyper focus on things for sure. but it's a little bit harder to do that on demand, so to speak. Whereas I am able to focus on things on demand as needed. And so it has depended on a lot of it has depended on Bane's publishing schedule in the sense that Bane depends on a lot of different factors. And so they don't have really a flexible. Oh, look, Floof has joined us. Hello, Floof. Hello, Floof. This is Gadget, the floofy queen of House Share. Bane has a bunch of different books they're publishing all the time. So I have tried to get the TD Hunter books done according to what works best for their schedule and then work the Lily Singer books in between. And so I kind of go back and forth. I'll focus on a TD Hunter book, get that done, and then I'll switch and do a Lily Singer book. And sometimes if I'm waiting for editing or something, I'll work on a more minor Lily Singer project, like the short story collection or Patreon stories, or working on the next Sebastian book, where it's stuff that's not as involved. I don't have to think as deeply. I have found that the longer a series goes on and the more plot threads I have to tie together and get everything to work, the much deeper I have to sink into the series and kind of subsume myself in the story. And the more I have to block everything else out, the more I have to focus to actually continue the story and weave it all together. It's like the further into the series I go, there's more balls I'm juggling, and I need more focus, more quiet, and more separation to juggle all those balls at once. And so I do have to take time. I have to focus on one major project at a time for sure. I can't juggle going back and forth between TD Hunter and Love Lies and Hocus Pocus. The quality would just suffer a whole lot. So given the opportunity, would Sebastian play TD Hunter? We answered that from Prin Moore. Do you use a computer or a spreadsheet type thing to keep it all straight? I can't imagine all those pages keeping it completely in order. So I definitely do all my work on my computer. I use Scrivener. Scrivener has a really great sidebar with folders and everything organized in folders that I can like expand and contract folders and see everything laid out. I have my story Bible and I just like, okay, by alphabetical order, this. And I know in general, if I'm looking for a factoid, okay, I put it under, whatever heading in my story Bible, and I go back and read what I wrote when I created it. And that helps remind me and trigger my memory. And so I mainly use Scrivener. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really use anything else. I don't use spreadsheets.
She uses her wall. So from the last book.
So yeah, that was a pregnant brain thing. So I was pregnant.
Do you guys know that meme where the guy is standing in front of the board and he's got like strings going all over the place, like that meme?
Detective meme, police story.
It was
meme.
like that except without the string. There was like Post-it notes all over the wall, and it's still up right now. Like all
no. I took it down.
The tape is still up. Like there's
the tape for the different categories. Yeah.
Yeah, she put like painter's tape on the wall and like wrote on the painter's tape, and like some of them are words and some of them are just symbols. Like one's like a recycle symbol for some reason, and
it is not.
It's like a circle with arrows, made of arrows.
David does not know what he's talking about. You should ignore him.
Yeah, it was crazy. I walked in one day. I was like, "What is this? What's happening?"
So that was when I was struggling with my focus because of breastfeeding and sleep deprivation. When Ezra, because I had my youngest. I mean, now it was a year ago, but at the time that I used that, it was in the fall of last year. So I recently had my youngest son and was breastfeeding him and really sleep deprived, and so I just needed to write. I needed to have the physical manifestation of the different plot points. And so I wrote everything down and put out on the wall and did all my plotting and pacing on the wall. And I think I did that again with TD Hunter 4, but I did it in a notebook instead of on the wall because I didn't need it to be quite so physical. And I think my next book, I don't know, I might keep doing I like having it like that I can physically hold. There's a thing with our brains that it deals with tactile things differently than things on a digital screen. So I might continue outlining in notebooks and then transferring the information to my computer. We'll see how that goes. Let's see here. So the next question is, Julian Thompson says, "You pregnant? Unheard of." Yeah. You're so funny. Cindy Franklin asked, "Do I research fairy and folklore, or do you just create everything from scratch?" So I do not generally research fairy or folklore because My goal is not to recreate myths of old. My goal is to create a story that reflects overarching themes, um, that may or may not be connected to folklore, but mostly not. The Fae in the Lily Singer adventures, in the Love Lies and Hocus Pocus universe, are not the things that Fae and Fairy are in the real world. They are a race of beings that was created to help steward the earth, and they're a cohesive whole. They're a cohesive hierarchical society, um, that is not at war with each other, like the whole Seelie and Unseelie courts where everybody's always fighting and trying to gain power and all this stuff. They're not at war with each other. They're not some disparate monsters here and there. They're a unified society with a purpose and a structured, um, hierarchy of who's in charge of what. And so it's just because it was so very different from Fae and Fairy of our human folklore, I didn't want to try and steal, which stealing in this case isn't a bad thing. I'm not, like I can pull from myth or whatever. People do that for books all the time. It's a great thing. But I didn't want to slap that face on it and have people misinterpret it, what I was trying to do with the Fae, by giving them the impression that it was just, oh, it's just the fairy of lore. Because it's a very different thing. So I will sometimes go into how, people like mistake what they saw from the Fae and made stories about it. And that's where we got our Fae and folklore, our Fae folklore, or fairy folklore. But I'm definitely not trying to copy folklore and somehow tie it in. Because there's some urban fantasy books that do that really well. Not Jane Yellowrock. The Jane Yellowrock books are awesome. I love them. But Patricia Reed, no, not Patricia Reed. Patricia, she writes the Alpha Omega series and the Pregnancy Moment. David, look up Alpha Omega and tell me who the author is of that book series. It's like a werewolf romance, paranormal romance series. Anyway, she does it really well, and I love it. Great job. There's a lot of urban fantasy series that do that, and if you are looking for that,
Briggs, right?
Patricia Briggs, there we go. Patricia Briggs.
Right.
Patricia Briggs does that really well. Sean last names. I know some urban fantasy authors who do that really well, and I can recommend them elsewhere. But anyway, so that was Cindy Franklin. Greg, you have asked quite a few questions, and I will get back to them, but I'm going to skip and answer a couple other people's questions. You haven't asked some yet.
Asking the questions to you?
No.
Is that my job?
I don't know. Do you want it to be your job?
I thought I was supposed to be interviewing you.
Well, that was if other people didn't ask questions. Evan Waters asked, in the future of TD Hunter, did George R. R. Martin finish the series? No, he did not. He disappeared off the face of the earth. Everybody forgot about him. Nobody cares about him anymore. Faded into obscurity.
Brandon Sanderson probably finished it for him.
Yeah. MDC Pool used Sebastian playing TD Hunter as a training assignment for Mallory. Mallory would not really know what to do with TD Hunter. Like,
you'd be really good at it, though.
She would be, but she'd also have a lot of disdain for it because in her mind, it would be playing unnecessary games that don't directly train like self-defense and attack movements. Yeah, it's good exercise.
It would teach muscle memory, though.
Yeah, but it's teaching muscle memory for doing things that you don't actually do to humans. It's teaching muscle memory for motions, slashing motions, and like all sorts of things that you're not going to be using to attack people. And so if you want to become an expert at attacking and defending human targets, you don't do that through a game like TD Hunter. So she probably wouldn't use it as a training tool. As far as Mallory, now Smash might be like, woohoo, let's use this as a training tool. Mallory, no, we're not doing that.
But she would love seeing him run around.
She would probably laugh at it, yeah. Lily would laugh too. Jane Moore asks, imagine Sebastian chatting with Hugo. That would be funny, but also Hugo would be constantly glitching and be like, I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't hear what you said. I seem to be glitching somehow, like this machine is not working, and Sebastian would probably just be sniggering at it. Let's see here. When am I coming to Philly? Asked Mary. Well, that's Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia. Probably not for a while, but I do hope to get to the northeastern part of the US for a book tour at some point in the future. It will more likely be closer to when I finish the Lily Singer Adventures, because hopefully my kids, well, I mean, not hopefully, my kids will be 4 or 5 years older then, and they will be easier to leave at home. And so we can do like a book tour up there, because I've never gone northeast to do book signings before. So
Hey,
that'll be fun.
I want to answer Greg's third
Yeah,
question
go for it.
about. All right, so the other thing that I do is I help with marketing for people who are for authors, and a lot of the people that I'm working with are in their 50s. They're like just starting out in their career. They've just finished whatever their previous career was, and they're looking for something new to do. And they look to writing because books are what they love and stories are what they love. So in your 50s is absolutely still fine. It's a tough gig if you're trying to do it as like for your living, but as long as you're dedicated to it, and I've talked to success after success story weekly in the marketing course I help teach with.
Gadget is trying to climb onto my desk and get lovies.
Luna has abandoned me. She was
Oh
literally
no!
sitting next to me, pawing at me for attention until I started talking, and now she's running away.
Larry Brady is pregnant again. Was a 1980s single by Loretta Lynn. Ha ha ha. Let's see here.
I don't think Sir Kipling could play T.D. Hunter.
No. Well, so like you could. Okay, so hear me out. What if you created a harness that had lasers on it, like TEP lasers, the particles or whatever that had lasers on it, and it could be remote, like it could be activated by him in some way, or it could be activated by like a human or whatever. I feel
Could he do
he
like
could fight them,
could he
like
fly around in
jumps
like
and
a drone?
flips. No,
It'd be awesome having him
that would
be a
be
drone pilot.
hilarious. That would be hilarious. Like I'm not sure I could handle that. That would be hilarious. Yeah,
All I can hear now is Donut from
yeah,
Dungeon Crawler Carl
yeah,
yelling and screaming as flying around.
yeah. I could see that. So let's get back to Greg McPherson's second question. Do you use a storyboard type setup where you post pictures or drawings, or are you purely writing to your thoughts? I don't use storyboards. I do use reference pictures sometimes, but that is in the art stages where I am describing things for cover artist, or if I'm doing character art. As far as like character appearances, I think about what's their ethnic background, where are they from, what can I do to make my cast diverse from an interest point of view, meaning I don't want all my people to look the same, because I default to, I mean, blonde hair, blue eyes. Like I have blonde hair, blue eyes. I know it's auburn right now. That's because I dye it with henna. Newsflash: I'm not a natural redhead. I use
Wait,
henna.
for real? Are you serious?
Ha ha ha.
I never knew this thing.
Uh-huh. I've been dyeing it for about 13 years, because my sister has luxurious long hair, and a long time ago decided she was either going to cut her hair or dye it because she was bored with it. And everybody was like, don't cut it, don't cut it. And she doesn't like traditional dyes and how hard they are on the hair. So she dyes it with henna, and then got me into doing it because she wanted someone to do it with her. And everybody really liked me as a redhead, so I stuck with it. Anyway, I'm blonde hair, blue eyed. And so I didn't want all my characters to just be blonde hair, blue eyed, because that was that's my brain's default. And so I'll think about, hey, like, what do my characters, like, what does my cast of characters look like so far? What other perspectives and backgrounds can I explore in this situation that can better reflect like a natural setting? Because in a natural setting, people are diverse. And so it really depends a lot more on what is logical and what makes a good story than like vibes or like pictures I pull off the internet. I do sometimes look up visuals for things that I need to describe that I don't know a lot about. So, like a particular type of art or architecture or a location, geography, plants and animals, stuff like that. I'll look up pictures to find like authentic representations of them that I can then better understand how to describe them. But I'll save links to re-reference stuff, but I don't really save pictures. I don't really do storyboards. Eben Waters says, can a cat be rated to play TD Hunter? We answered that. Let's see here. Jane Moore says, coincidence or planned? Lily Singer has the same initials as her author, Lydia Sherrer. Lynn Raven has the same first initial as one of her authors, Lydia, and the last initial of the other author, Mr. Ringo. Lynn's warmonger moniker is nicknamed Larry the Snake. Lynn's TD Hunter name is Raven Striker. Lynn hates a new monster called a striker that is essentially a snake. So it is a coincidence. It was about 6 months, 4 months, 4 to 6 months after my first Lily Singer Adventures books was published, when the first person pointed out that Lily Singer's initials were the same as mine. And they pointed it out in the context, assuming I had done it on purpose. And I was horrified. I was horrified. I'm like, how can I do that? That's like the most awful rookie mistake ever. That was not on purpose. It is not a Mary Sue. I swear to God, it was on accident. It is absolutely coincidence. And I think what was going on, I have this weird thing with first letters. And a lot of times people who have the same first letter of their name, I'll sometimes get them mixed up in my head, or just like speaking to them, or more, not really speaking to them face to face, but like speaking over chat or email or something. And I think, Lydia Sherrer, Lily Singer, like they have a good cadence to them. Lily was a name I've wanted to use for a long, long time because I've always really liked the name Lily. And then Singer, David and I brainstormed the last name Singer. And so it was kind of like, it was already something that I liked. I don't know, maybe I liked it because I had the same first initial as my name, but I wasn't thinking that consciously. And so it just kind of evolved. And then later, after the fact, which would have been 1.5 years after I started writing it, I finally realized it's the same initials, and I did the biggest facepalm in the history of the universe. I promise it's coincidence. So as far as Lynn and like John Ringo came up with all of the names, John Ringo came up with all of the names for the original TD Hunter characters, meaning the ones that first show up. So Lynn and her whole team, and Larry Coughlin, and Matilda and all that. I think L is a pretty common letter, for first names for girls. And then last name Raven. I'm not sure what John's inspiration was to come up with that as a last name. I would have to ask him sometime. But yeah, Lynn Raven, that was not on purpose. Lynn and Lily, like that was not on purpose. That was a coincidence. The Ringo Raven thing, I don't know. Maybe Ringo did that on purpose. I don't know. Other people have asked if Larry Coughlin was a play on Larry Correa's name, because John and Larry Correa wrote a book together, but that book came out after John had brainstormed the story and came up with Larry Coughlin, so I don't think it was meant to be like a Larry Correa thing. John likes to use very common, like English standard names: Mike, Steve, Bill, Larry. He doesn't usually use a lot of, I don't really want to say exotic, but it kind of goes with the first thing that comes to mind. Maybe some of them are after people he knows. So I think there's a Mike in many of his books. There's a lot of pretty common names. So that's probably where Larry came from, not because of Larry Correa. And Raven Striker, I came up with Raven Striker because Raven is her last name. She didn't want to go with a name that was totally disconnected from her real persona, because obviously she's doing this in the real. Everybody knows who she is. Everybody knows what her name is. So she wasn't trying to hide that, but she didn't want to like advertise her first name. So that's where the Raven came from. And then Striker was more, she didn't. Role. Yeah, she wasn't aware that there was a monster called the Striker when she started, because that wasn't something that they like unlocked until later levels. And
but it's the role she plays in the game. Yeah.
And like the assault characters, so people who are aggressive, going on the front line, and assaulting. So yeah, so it's more to do with her role than anything to do with the creature. Kathy Rouleau asked, do we each have our own office space? Yes, in fact, we do. I am on the ground floor. Yes. Well, not just because his messiness was driving me absolutely crazy, and me constantly nitpicking where he puts everything would drive him crazy. So we have different personalities, and also we need our private. Like I need my private space to write. I can't write with people in the room; it's too distracting. So I absolutely need a private space to write. I'm on the ground floor. Excuse me, it's getting a little late, which does not mean I need to stop or anything. It's just yawns are normal at this hour
For
for
a
me.
while in our old house, we both worked in the same
In the
space.
basement. Well, it was a
Um,
very long room, very long basement, and I worked at one end and he worked at the other. So
and I was a telecommunications engineer at the time, and she was working on writing. And her being like all the way across the house in like a really long room was too close.
yeah.
The music was too loud. My, I don't know what I did that was annoying. I'm a pretty laid back guy and pretty easy to get along with. But
Well, it's hard when you're doing work, being in each other's spaces, because you've each got your own thing going. You each have your own vibe, your own like way that you do work, way that you're comfortable in your own space, and so it's much better to have separate spaces. David has the whole
I'm just
basement.
perfect.
You're perfect.
I'm perfect.
David has his own man cave in the basement, and his man cave's cleanliness bothers me. So
Yeah,
I let him do his own thing in the basement.
it's a
I
bit
don't.
trash right now because the kids could like
And
they
you've been
came
you've
down
been a
here,
little sick. You've been a little sick recently,
and
so
I've been
that
sick
too.
all week. It's the first day that I've actually been able to breathe in like 4 or 5 days. So I'm excited about that. Tasting food again would be really good. I'm hoping that happens soon.
All right, so back to the questions. Oh, Robin Marciniak says, I have a Lily, one of my twins. They just turned 30. Time flies. Very nice. Lily's a great name. You'll have to tell us what the other twin's name is if you don't mind. That would be fun. Um, Brian
I think,
Corslund says, put some caffeine in the tea. Yeah, I could probably use some caffeine right about now.
I think you missed Julian's question.
No, I haven't. I have starred stuff, and I was just starring more stuff.
Okay,
So let's
okay.
see here. Kathy Julian says, who would I like to work with next?
Me.
I think if David and I collaborated on a book, we would kill each other.
I think it'd be fine.
We're too close.
I would
No, no,
I would turn
we're
in
too
some
close.
like almost unreadable mess, and Lydia would make it great. That's how that would work.
You almost made me squirt tea on my keyboard, David.
I mean, it's true. I would put something together that's really really interesting, but not a book.
Yeah, David is a very good oral storyteller. He would make an amazing bard. In fact, I mean, not musically, but he is Yaskier from, um, not Game of Thrones,
Witcher.
from Witcher. Yaskier from Witcher, but instead of being like a musical bard, like a storytelling bard. He would be like that actor, stage, like magician bard, as opposed to like an instrument singing bard. David would make a really good bard.
I used to
So,
travel around street performing and like juggling fire and telling stories and doing
yep,
magic tricks.
yep, yep. So honestly, if we collaborated, most likely he would not be writing anything. Most likely he would be like we would be talking out stuff. I mean, I would try to make him. Yeah, and that's the reason why I don't think we're gonna collaborate. Probably is because
I am
David's
writing a
not really a writer.
superhero story right now, so
So, for the record, David, you've told
I've been
me
writing
that
that for
you've been
like
writing
6
that
years.
book for almost a decade. Almost a decade. So, I'm not holding my breath. I will
That's good.
support you. I support you, but I am not holding my breath. So, anyway,
I
Robin.
write when I have spare time, and I never have spare time.
Yeah, well, I don't have spare time, which is why I prioritize writing. But David has other stuff he has to do to keep the business running. So Robin Marciniak says Jason, and yes, Jason Cordova would be an awesome person to write with. My husband has said that I should write with David Weber, and I would never like make that suggestion myself because that would be
I
presumptuous of me. But
I would. I in fact have. But we'll see where that goes.
yeah, so I would absolutely consider writing with David Weber if he ever offered. I'm just not sure what sort of project we would work on. I have read his Honor Harrington books and really enjoyed them, but there's nothing particularly about the Honor Harrington universe that kind of grabs me, and I'd be like, oh, hey, like I'd want to work on this part. I honestly enjoyed my favorite trilogy or work of David Weber is his In Fury Born, I think it's called, which is a trilogy about a gal whose family was attacked and left for dead by some space pirates or whatever, and she goes on a rampage to avenge them and like bonds with this AI that's actually the manifestation of like the goddess of the Furies or something like that. I can't remember all the details. I read it when I was a teenager, but I really, really liked it. I should read that again. Um, so, anywho, I would love to collab with some people on more books in the TD Hunter universe. That would be awesome, but I'd have to find the right people. They would need to be extremely passionate about the series and about the characters. They would have to love the world as it has already been created and want to build off of it, not come in and remake it in their own image, if that makes sense. Because what the readers have fallen in love with is what's there. And so what will be successful and what will most honor the fan base is someone who already loves what's there and wants to come in and build that out. So if you happen to be a writer and you love TD Hunter and would like to write books in that world, maybe send me an email. So let's see here. MDC
Last
Cool
year when you were a
says,
teenager.
what?
Last year when you were a teenager, says Julian.
Ha ha ha! I am older than I look. I have had 4 children.
David Weber would be an amazing collab.
He would have to initiate it. I don't have any ideas that I could pitch to him, and he's got his work cut out for him. He's working on a lot of stuff.
So if any of you guys know David Weber and want to suggest that him and Leo,
I've got too much to do. I have to finish the Lee Singer Adventures first. No collabs until I finish that. MDC Pool says, who and how does the decision for age appropriateness of your book get determined? I determine that, and I determine it mostly based on my own thoughts as a parent, as well as my experiences growing up. I grew up pretty conservative, not like super conservative, but my parents let me read Harry Potter. They weren't like anti-magic or anything, but they were like, actually, my parents didn't really screen the books I read as a teenager before I read them, because I read some spicy stuff when I was 13 or 14 that I probably shouldn't have been reading. Oh, oops. Is mom still watching? Hi, mom. Newsflash. Yeah, so it's that, and it's also, I try to err on the side of, is it really necessary? If there's something where it's like, okay, is this age appropriate? I'm not worrying about stuff like hard themes to wrestle with. So I don't shy away from difficulties or from facing evil. But in terms of like strong language or any kind of, sexual content, and by sexual, I mean like anything, like holding hands, kissing, like having thoughts or feelings. No, you cannot climb up there, Gadget. No, absolutely not. She's trying to climb on top of my desk and knock everything off.
She's doing her, I'm about to do something to force you to pick me up.
Yes, basically. She loves sitting on my shoulder. So yeah, I just think about, is this really necessary? Is it going to improve the story, or am I just putting in for shock value? And if it is going to improve the story, can I couch it in a way that I would be comfortable with my 12, 13-year-old reading? And if the answer to that is yes, then I usually put it in. And if it's no, I find some way to work around it and do something else. O'Brien Corsland says, if a cat goes through an arena with the TD Hunter monsters, do they sense them? That has not been established, but I'd say maybe. I think that's a valid in-world. There she goes. There she is. She's miffed that I was trying to talk while also holding her. She needs my undivided attention. Yeah, I think probably the cats could sense them. A cat would know to avoid a nodality, which for anyone who's not familiar with the TD Hunter books, the nodalities are like the bosses, the gigantic, huge ones that can actually kill you. So yeah, a cat would absolutely. And I think wildlife, I don't know, maybe not wildlife in general, but cats for sure would know to avoid those guys.
Your mom's still watching, by the way.
Good to know. Thanks. Did she comment?
She did. She said that she's still watching, and you did a whole bunch of things that she only found out later.
Yes, this is true. I was a typical teenager. Kristen Marie asked, do I ever snuggle up with tea and cats and enjoy my own books? Unfortunately, no, I do not. Because reading my own books over again is not necessary to do my job. And they are not really relaxing to read because I'm very self-critical. So going over them again is like, sometimes it's really difficult to get out of my own like self-critical space. The only time I do go through them again is when when I get back to finishing up the 9th book of the Liz Singer Adventures, I will be re-listening. Now I listen, I don't read generally. I listen to the whole series. So I'll start in book 1 and listen through the whole series and actually take notes and remind myself like, oh, hey, I need to remember to like do this and tie in this plot line. And oh, there's a good idea for, harkening back to this instance and stuff like that. So no, I don't.
Sometimes I hear her laughing hysterically upstairs, and I have to come find out what she's doing. And she'll be reading something from her previous novel, and
it's not really.
God, I said this.
Yeah. Yes, I do sometimes cackle at my own. I just got cat hair in my mouth. Thank you, Gadget. Thank you. I just was trying to drink my tea, and I just drank your hair. Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself? You're so floofy. She is.
Gadget's
very,
my
very
cat,
floofy.
by the way.
No, she's not.
It's abandoned me.
No, she's not. She just snookered you, whatever that term is, convinced you to take her in. So no, I don't really get to curl up and enjoy. And I like reading. I love reading, and I read when I can. I can't read as much as I'd like because I need to focus on work. But I'm catching up on comments. David Weber, yes. Last year, let me tell my cat is thinking by her expressions. Julian, yes, Sharon would threaten you all the time, but that's because you are imminently threatenable and you need to be threatened, and she just happens to fill the role very well. Yes, Mom's still watching. Oh boy. I'm just catching up on the comments. David, say something interesting.
My beard is going gray. A section of it's gone gray for every kid that I've had. A fourth of it went gray whenever my first kid was born. And then it just like continued over.
Yeah. Really quick, Angela Thomas says, my new TD Hunter book arrives tomorrow. I'm so excited, wondering if I will find Poe in this one. Unfortunately, no. So Poe cameoed in book 2 because I found an opportunity to stick him in as a non-plot affecting thing. And there hasn't really been a way to easily stick in cat. Like, honestly, what I should have done was make Poe the cat of Kayla's family. That would have been awesome because then he could have been like showed up all the time whenever they go over to Kayla's house. But unfortunately, I didn't think of it at the time, and so I didn't do that. But my goal for the series was to cameo Sir Kipling once. I wasn't really intending him to put it in every book. It would have been now. I will say in book 4, which you don't get to read until, the ER could probably come out December, January, and then the book will come out next March maybe. You will find a reference in there for Sebastian. But anyway, it would have been nice to put more of Poe in there, but it was also a thing where it's like, this is John's original universe and I'm collaborating with him and I want to respect, his intent for the series and not just like throw a bunch of my own characters in there as cameos. But Robin Marciniak says, you have 5 cats. I don't have 5 cats. I have 3. Well, I have 3 living cats, and there are more cats in my books. Will Sir Kipling ever get a sibling, or does Yuki kind of fill that role? Sir Kipling. So Lily is a 1-cat human. By that, I mean that not only would it not really work in the storyline, but also she is the kind of person that is very devoted and focuses on a single companion animal. And so she will not ever be getting more cats. So in that sense, Sir Kipling is not going to get a sibling. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't thought about this. I don't have any plans for any additional cats to show up and be like sidekicks or additional like sibling cat characters with Sir Kipling. He's kind of the star, and any other cat in the picture would horn in on his screen time. So I could see him being a little bit jealous of that cat screen time. So Yuki does play the role of annoying sibling. Absolutely. Greg McPherson, David, he said, perfect. I'd like to attend some classes. Any advice or directions? Do you have any thoughts for Greg just in terms of finding like advice and direction for like a later in your life writing career?
Learn craft before you try to learn how to market. Don't try to pay for like Facebook ads or anything until you've got like 3 or 4 books under your belt. And if you're going to do it as a career, try to write a series instead of just like a one-off book. As far as like advice on classes and stuff, your mileage may vary. Go into it knowing that generally when someone's teaching a class on how to do something author-wise, marketing-wise, something like that, there's an element that they're not telling you. There's like a secret to their success that's they're not going to be forthcoming with immediately. Like there's an author that I know of that teaches a marketing class, and the thing he doesn't tell everybody is he's got 80 books and he writes like one a week or one every 2 weeks or something like that. And the reason that he is so
He
successful.
also doesn't do any of the back end work. He just writes it and then sends it off to his team, and they do all the editing and all that stuff in production. He just writes. That's all he does.
So if you're listening to somebody tell you something about like the author world and the author career, and it just doesn't make sense, it probably doesn't.
Well, we don't want that to sound discouraging in the sense that so this career is a lot. Like we have 100% as entrepreneurs dedicated 150% of ourselves to this career for 10 years. In terms of success. Now, that's not to say you can't write and get a few things published and find some success, not a full-time income success necessarily, but find some success with as like a side thing. You absolutely can do that. But as a full-time career, like it takes everything. And it is definitely difficult to get started and start gaining traction if all you have is like part-time or like weekend hobby type time to devote to it. David and I started as we agreed to be poor. I quit my job and we lived off of David's income while I wrote full time and studied self-publishing and got everything set up for the business and started putting out books. And so I was doing it full time for several years before I published my first book. And we lived off David's income. We were young, we had no kids, we lived in a crappy apartment. David worked a job that he didn't really like, but it paid well. And that was just our reality for a couple of years while we got our feet underneath us. And so everybody's situation is different. I don't know if some people have like some savings that, is not like earmarked for like retirement or whatever. And they're like, hey, I want to use some of these savings to help like get me kickstarted my career. Or if someone's like, well, I'm now retired and I'm only working part-time, so I have more time freed up now to work on it. Just be aware that, you do have to make sacrifices and not watch Netflix, not doom scroll on Facebook.
One of the big things that you need to decide is if you want to go the self-publishing route or if you want to try traditionally publishing, because that changes your trajectory immensely. But you have to get the book written first. You can't do anything without a book being written.
Evan Waters says, bye, Evan. We'll see you at DragonCon. Also, who was it? Leigh Roberts has popped in and said, I love your stories. Thanks so much, Leigh. It's nice to see you. Glad you've been enjoying them. And let's see here. What's my next question? It is, who, if anyone, was the model for Lily's wizard father? Oh boy. Larry Brady is asking about John Faust LaFay. I actually say John Faust, whatever. I don't really care. I don't even remember how Amy McPherson, who is my audiobook narrator, says it. But anyway, there is no person that he was modeled after in the sense that I know of, either my father, not at all the case. My father's amazing in every way, and I can't really think of much. Like if someone was like, hey, what's a valid criticism of your dad? Like I'd be hard put to come up with something. I love him lots. He raised me really well. So it's definitely not from any personal experience. And I also don't have any friends where I was thinking, oh, like that person's dad. Like I'm going to make him like that. But what it did come from was a fascination with and desire to explore the sociopathic personality and sociopathic personality disorder. because I had some pretty intense interactions with, I don't want to say a sociopath because I don't know. It's more like a lot of things happened. And after the fact, I was like, like I was doing research and I'm like, it kind of sounds like they were a sociopath. And also at the time, they kind of joked about being a sociopath, which I'm not sure if sociopaths would joke about being a sociopath. I don't know if that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I had some very intense interactions, and I don't really want to say a relationship with because it was very fraught and not something more fallen into than a conscious decision. But for a year or so there was a lot of tumultuous things going on in my life because of this person. And, when you come in contact with a person like that, it leaves you with a lot of questions, leaves you with some hurt, leaves you with some lingering, like, well, what if, and why did they do this? And like, how could this be? And all these questions. And you can't explore those questions with that person because they're extremely toxic and you can get away from them. And so that's been a curiosity of mine to further explore, antisocial disorders and just these different psychological issues or struggles that people have, narcissism, stuff like that, in some of my my villain or my pregnant brain protagonist is the hero. Antagonist. There we go. Antagonist. Me and my poor, tired, slow, and pregnant brain, by the way, is an overall description of like, I'm not thinking quickly because I have kids and I'm constantly sleep deprived. It does not mean I'm pregnant again. I'm not pregnant again. Every time I say pregnant brain, people are like, oh, are you pregnant? I'm like, no, I'm not. Never again. That factory's closed. So I hope that answers Larry's question. It's more a curiosity about a archetype and a personality disorder rather than a specific person. Sharon Moore asked, would I ever name a child after a character? No. I don't think it's really fair to saddle one of my children with that or, a hypothetical child. I used the names Lily and Sebastian because I really like those names. And if I hadn't used them for my books, I would love to have named my kids Lily or Sebastian, Lily or Sebastian. But since they're characters in my books, I'm not going to do that. I know if my mom named me after a character in her book, I'd be like, I don't know. I wouldn't like that. Bastion is now meowing at my door. Should I let him in, David?
Yeah, if you wanted to bite you.
Hi, Bastion. You gonna come in? Let's see if Bastion will come visit us. I'm on a rolling chair, by the way. In case anyone was wondering why I was gliding away.
She's hovering. Lydia doesn't actually have feet. She just hovers. She's been standing this whole time.
Yeah. Hi, Bastion. No, he's not coming in. Gadget's sitting at the door and glaring at the door, so he might be afraid of Bastion or afraid of Gadget. So Sharon Moore said, who is your favorite real life cat? Well, if we're just talking about the cats that I own, the cats that own me. Bastion, what are you doing, dude? Oh, it's Luna. Luna's up here too. So I have Luna, Bastion, and Gadget are the feline overlords of House Share. And I love them all for different reasons.
That's what it is. You shut them out of the basement. That's why.
I didn't do it on purpose. Do you want me to go let them back into the basement?
I don't care.
Luna. Hi, Bastion. You can come up and say hi to everybody. Hi, Luna. So I love Gadget because she is incredibly sweet and cuddly. And she's not a lap cat. She's a shoulder cat. She will not sit in your lap. Not usually. She wants to be on your shoulder.
She sits in my lap.
She will not sit in my lap. She wants to be a queen and be carried around with me as her palanquin. But she's very sweet. She's very good with the kids. She's very accommodating. Oh, hi, Bastion. Murder Mittens. Everybody, this is Bastion Murder Mittens. Hi, Bastion. Come here. You need to pet you? Oh, you're going to rub on me. You're going to have to come over here. There we go. Bastion loves head scratches. So Bastion is my spicy boy. He is hangry right now. We have not fed them yet, and so he's kind of in that I want luppies, also you must feed me, and I'm going to bite. See, he's like, I'm gonna bite you till you feed me. So he's kind of hangry right now.
And even whenever he's letting you pet him, he will open and shut his mouth just to let you know that he could bite you if he wants to. The only reason that you're
David is not sweet with him, and Bastion is more spicy with David than he is with me because David doesn't like Bastion that much because Bastion's kind of a butt head.
He's fine. He's just a jerk.
Hi. Yeah. Mommy's boy.
He literally the other day walked up and bit my leg for no reason. Like I'm sitting in a chair doing work. He walks up, bit me, and then walked away.
Yeah, well, he's biting now because he's hungry. David, you want to go feed him real quick? We should probably feed them because Bastion is now biting my arm. I'm gonna go open the basement.
Yeah,
I'll let you open the basement door while I go answer questions. So if you guys hear some clanging in the background, it's because David's
feeding the stampede.
Yes, there's gonna be here we go. Let's see here. All right, David, go call him. There's Luna. There's gonna be a cat stampede. Just gonna open the door. Up. There we go. Whew. Gadget does not like the other cat. Bastion beats up on her sometimes, so Gadget usually doesn't go until she's sure that the coast is clear. I don't know where Gadget went. So anyway, our cats are in a hilarious rock, paper, scissors eternal circle of hierarchy. Bastion beats up on Gadget because Gadget's super sweet and Bastion's a butthead and takes advantage of that. But Gadget was the adult when Luna was brought into the house as a kitten long, long ago. Gadget's her oldest cat. So Luna defers to Gadget. So Gadget is dominant over Luna and will beat her up if Luna's spicy with her. But Luna is above Bastion and will beat the crap out of him if he looks wrong at her. Like, she will just come along and smack him up and down because he looked at her wrong. And so it's like Bastion beats up on Gadget, who beats up on Luna, who beats up on Bastion. It's just a little cycle of kitty violence. Not really. They're not violent with each other, but they're not cuddly. Like, they never cuddle with each other. They kind of stay in their separate zones. So we love them very much. I can't say I love any one of them more than the other. I think Bastion's fun and interesting, and he's our youngest and kind of most adventurous. And Luna is our sweet lap cat, and she's very lovey and snuggly, but very timid. And she brings us her cat taco toy every night. She comes up to our room doing her little mew noise with her little cat taco and drops it off every night in our room to make sure we are fed at night. So it's very cute.
She just gave me an avocado.
Yep. So let's see here. Sir Kipling says he's popular with the ladies. What about a litter? Says Mary Kay Malucci. I have not decided yet. I've had that thought. So technically, Sir Kipling is fixed and was fixed early in life as a young cat when Lily first got him before the series ever starts. So that would be my explanation for why he has not had a litter at this, like, up to this point, because he is popular with the ladies, but he's a magic cat. So I do have a leg to stand on if I do decide for there to magically a litter to happen at some point. But we'll see. I haven't decided about that yet. I have 4 more books to get through. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Alrighty. And Jane Moore says, Sir Kipling is, as his namesake wrote, the cat who walked by himself. Yes, that is very true. I love that. So let's see here. More questions. Such a mom answer. Uh-oh. Sharon Moore says, such a mom answer. I wonder what was a mom answer. I'm looking back at these after the fact. And the man they call Jane. Yes.
Description of which cat you like the most.
Oh, that's true. I am a mom. I am a mom of 4 boys, and I love them all for different reasons. None of them is my favorite.
Mine's Gadget.
Oh, your favorite cat? Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And Luna's good too. Like, Luna's a very, very close second.
Yeah.
And then all of the cats at the Hemingway house are third. And then like 6th is Bastion.
Yeah. He's a spicy boy. So I did want to get to 1 or 2 questions that someone sent me. Where did I write these down? Let's see here. Someone asked how I do the collaboration with John Ringo. He was just generally asking, like, how do collaborations work? And that is a very broad question that doesn't have a specific answer because every collaboration is going to be different. Everybody works different. People's brains work different. They have different writing processes, and they're going to relate to each other differently. And so how I work with John is not going to necessarily be how other people work together. But a couple of principles that I can comment on is that you definitely do not want to collaborate with someone that you don't, that you can't trust to be professional and that has not shown that they can be reliable as a professional. Basically, that's rolled into being professional, communicating well, doing stuff on time, that sort of thing, not letting like personal feelings or frustrations like bubble over, not being a drama queen or whatever. You also need to make sure it's very clear how the rights are split, who is publishing it, and how it's being published, and how royalties are being distributed. With John, that was easy because he's published almost exclusively with Baen Books, and so Baen handled the contract. Um, Basically, John and Baen, determined the contract. I didn't like. It was a fine contract, but there was no point at which I was like, oh, well, I really want this instead. I'm just like, hey, that's what you're used to working with. I'll go with it. It's a fine contract. It's a standard contract. And so I'm like, I was brought on as the junior author. This was 2018, 2019. And so at that point, I was much earlier in my career and hadn't spent years working with Baen and John. So at this point, if I did a collab with, for instance, who knows, David Weber, whatever, I would be much more involved in, going over the contract and deciding, hey, based on my experience that I now have, like, how could this be improved? But obviously, Baen takes care of all the publishing and all the royalty distribution. But indie authors, when they collaborate, one of them has to be the person who actually puts the file up as the publisher. And one of them has to be the one that has their bank account connected with the account to get the royalties, and then they have to deal with distribution to the other author. So you just got to make sure that you're working with someone that you can trust to be a professional and to handle that properly and to actually pay you what you're owed. In terms of the work process, that really, really depends from person to person. I know some people who will go back and forth writing different points of view in different chapters. That's more common for like a romance type storyline where there's a main female and main male point of view. I know some who do different points of view, like in epic fantasy, where they'll each take certain characters, and as each POV switches for different characters, they'll write those points of view. The way John and I mostly did it was the first book was a bit different because he had written 40,000 words of a beginning, and I took that and outlined from it, and we agreed on the story arc, and I finished that book. And then for 2, 3, and 4, I did outlining, and we did brainstorming processes where we worked together on the storyline and the outline and agreed upon it. And then I wrote certain, most of the scenes that's Lily's storyline, and there were different angles or points of view or perspectives from military personnel or cider or the government or like what all these other scenes that John would work on, and also perspectives from Larry Coughlin and just other like military things that are just not my area of expertise, where I would like leave brackets and be like, John, write this here, and he would go in and fill in all those places. So a bit more of like a scatter shot, not really clear cut, but it worked well with us. I would go back over those and just meld the two voices styles a little bit to make it really smooth, to flow smoothly. And then he would do a final approval on everything at the end. So that's how it worked for us, but it's different for every author and depends on your all's work process and what works for you guys. Gillian Paulus, hope I pronounced that properly, says, are there plans to make an audiobook version of The Bath of Doom? Eventually, but I have no timeline for that. So the short story collections and Accidental Witch do not sell well enough yet to justify audiobooks. Likely I will, by the time I've finished the Lily Singer Adventures, I will complete the audiobooks for all the other books in the universe that don't already have audiobooks. Sebastian's backstory, the Dark Roads trilogy, will get audiobooks likely. I'm probably going to put out book 2 and 3, maybe not back to back with that, but pretty one after another. And once that trilogy is complete, I'll probably do the audio for that all at once. I may do a Kickstarter for that because paying for 3 audiobooks all at once. Just to give you guys some perspective, I could make absolutely 100% free audiobooks of any book that I have right this minute. And it would be pretty decent audiobook narrating. Not great, but pretty decent. Do it absolutely free using AI-generated audiobook narration. That's really tempting. I'm not going to do it, but as a business owner who has children to feed, who worries about finances, that's a very tempting prospect because it's like I could get 70% of the quality for literally no money. Producing audiobooks cost, I don't know, anywhere from 1,500 to, I mean, Kindred, I think $6,500 to produce the audiobook of Kindred because it was so long. That's like 600 plus pages. It was, I think, 23 hours. So it's around $250 per finished hour, something like that, maybe 300 for Amy McFadden, who we work with. So it's expensive to produce audiobooks, and you don't always have a guarantee you're going to earn that back. And so it's very, I don't want to begrudge people like new indies that are just starting out who want to get their work out in audio and are totally fine ethically in their own minds just making AI narrated audiobooks. I can't comment on that for them because they're different people. They have different businesses. They have their own belief on what's good. But for myself, it's frustrating to be in a place where I am committed to only human involved creation processes, whether that's writing or narrating, because it is an art form to narrate a book. And I want to pay real human beings to do that, to act out my book, to put their soul into it, because that really matters in the quality. But yeah, it's frustrating seeing people just whip out audiobook after audiobook for free. Now there's free meaning, like Amazon has a service and it's not really free because you're giving away some kind of right or control over it. But in terms of just cost, it's mostly free. So yeah, I would have audiobooks of everything right now if it didn't cost so much, but it does cost quite a pretty penny, and it will be done eventually, but not any specific schedule like the main books in the book series would be. So the best thing you can do is tell all your friends about the books and get everybody addicted to them and make them go absolutely viral and everybody to love them and be buying lots of them. And that will pay for getting audiobooks done a lot faster. So if anybody was wondering. Susan Jackson said that she really loves the books and took the cat sticker that I sent her and put it in my car window. Yay, that's so cute, Susan. Glad you're enjoying that. Sharon Moore says, as a rookie voice actor, thank you. You're very welcome. I applaud you and good luck in your journey. Julian says that AI is a lot better today than it was a year ago, but the mangled words can drive you nuts. Yes, absolutely. And generative AI is only going to be getting better. It's only going to get better. And there will be a time when you will not be able to tell the difference between a human voice actor and AI generated voices. You won't be able to tell the difference, which is why I am so passionate about being active and agitating for laws to be passed that require disclaimers on everything. That if something was generated by AI, created by AI, if AI was used in the creation, like it has to be displayed prominently and easy to see. Did a human do this, or was it human machine collaboration, or was it a machine? Consumers want to know, I want to know, and we should require people to disclaim that, because otherwise it's just deceptive. If you're using AI to create things and passing it off as human created, that's deceptive. So anyway, you guys can talk about that with your local politicians, or if you ever give feedback on a platform about their AI, because they're always asking, like, can we serve you better? And how was that AI experience? Like, tell them, I want you to require everything on your platform. Now, Amazon kind of does it. When you upload books, it asks if AI was used in this. But I don't think they display that. I don't know. I haven't looked. And if they do, it's not prominent. And people can easily lie, obviously, because it's just anyway, it would be hard to enforce that. It would have to be an honor system. But anywho, unfortunately, the world is such a place where if bad people want to do bad things, then they're going to do them. And we got to figure out ways to deal with that. Yep, people just commenting on the AI thing. And it is about 10:21. And since we don't currently have, oh wait, do we have more? Have I considered collector coins? Said Kathy Rouleau. Not really. I have considered getting a Sebastian's Truth coin made. That would have to be a Kickstarter because I'd want to make a authentic replica, and it would take some money to get that custom. most of the custom coin companies that make like challenge coins, they can't their stamping machines aren't really set up to make, I think, stuff that looks quite that unlike modern coins. Maybe. I'd want it to look like have that old like silver dollar feel. So we'll have to see. But that would be more of something I might do as a stretch goal for a Kickstarter for leather bound omnibuses once the series is complete. Um, Julian says that he advertises my books to 13,000 crayfish and seafood people. Nice. Very cool. Thank you, Julian. Appreciate that. Yes, Jane Moore says like Sebastian's Truth Coin or the Scotty medallion. I mean, the Scotty's Wolves medallion is also an option for like a collector's coin or a challenge coin. But again, it would have to be some kind of Kickstarter thing. There would be cost involved in setting that up, cost and time in designing and setting that up. And I'd have to have a bigger audience for the TD Hunter, a bigger audience than we have now for that. We'd have to wait till it grew a little bit more. I definitely have enough people who would enjoy that, but not enough people to make it worth the time and money in organizing and having that made. Awesome. People sound like they want coins. That's great. I'll keep that in mind as a possibility in the future. I wanted to check one more thing and make sure I answered the questions people posted on my post earlier today. So these are spoiler related. So I'll give some teasers. So one of the questions is, what might John Faust be up to in Avalon in book 9? I will say that John Faust has tried to tell Lily what to expect from him, and she does not quite get it. And also that if you have been paying attention to what John Faust has said, like John Faust is actually a very truthful person in the sense that he says exactly what he believes to be the truth. He doesn't go around telling flat out falsehoods to manipulate people and lead them astray. And so he has said multiple times what his plan is and what his goal is, like what his ultimate goal is, and what this is his life's mission. And so if you keep that in mind, then you will have a relatively good idea of which way he's going to jump in Avalon. But also, I don't want to spoil anything.
So we had a question in chat. Yeah. What are your plans for your next tea? It's from your mom.
Yes, I see that.
I would like a black tea to be our next. I would like there to be a Sebastian's black tea because I love black tea.
So I did a survey of a lot of people, and people want a berry sweet herbal tea or a chai tea. Those were the by far most requested. Like a English breakfast black tea type of thing was nowhere near, was like third or fourth place. So I'm going to go with majority of people who actually are spending money on it. And it's probably going to be a chai tea. I'm probably going to do like a Lily Singer chai, like a warm, cozy, curl up in your chair and read a book. Cozy chai tea is probably going to be the next one. So yes, Mary says he already put those runes on his back. Yes, you are right. He has plans, Mary. He has plans. You will find out. Brian Corson says John did a Kickstarter for the Zombie Series comic book. Maybe for TD Hunter. Coins would be cool. We'd love to do a graphic novel of the TD Hunter series, but it's really going to depend because Baen has those rights, and so I wouldn't be the one making that decision. Now, if I agitated for it, Baen would probably be open to having that done, but it would be a lot of time and effort organizing it. And right now I need to write new books. So that may be a thing where after the 4th book comes out, excuse me, if the popularity continues to grow and it's clear that there's and maybe we get some other novels written in the universe, maybe some anthologies, and it's clear that there is continuing and ongoing demand for content from that universe, that's something to where I could go to Tony and pitch it and be like, hey, this would be worth the time and money. So Basically, the answer to everything is keep telling all your friends about the books and get them addicted to it, and everybody keep telling everybody else. And if the series grows in popularity, it will make it worth making all this stuff. All the cool stuff that you want will happen when there's more people demanding it. Let's see here. Yes, thank you, Susan. We will get some sleep tonight. I don't know how much, but
the chai tea will probably not be delivered with milk because that is a difficult thing to.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. So chai tea is actually redundant. Chai is a Hindi word for tea. So I really shouldn't say chai tea. I should just say chai. Chai is an Indian style tea where it's black tea combined with a variety of spices. Um, Star anise, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, sometimes peppercorn, like different stuff like that. There's no milk involved, no cow's milk, no nothing like that. So it's not like a powdered chai flavored drink, like powder mix or anything. It's actual black tea with different spices in it that you steep just like a normal tea. And so you would have to add milk to it to add that to give it that traditional chai taste because Indians from India do brew their chai tea in like a milk water mixture. They brew it in milk. So you could brew it in milk, you could brew it in water and then add milk. That's up to you guys, but it would just be the tea with the spices. It wouldn't have any milk in it. Beth asks, my mother, Beth asks, do you have titles to the remaining Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus books? Yes, I have titles for all 12 Love, Lies, and Hocus Pocus books for almost the entirety of my writing the series. Book 9 is Avalon, book 10 is Melphalan, book 11 is Babylon, and book 12 is Eden. Those could change. They're probably not, but they could change. The only title that I planned from the beginning that ended up changing was Odyssey. Originally, I think it was, I don't remember what it was. I'll have to go look back in my notes long ago. But Beginnings, Revelations, Allies, Legends, and then Identity, or then Betrayal, Identity, Kindred. Kindred and Odyssey, I think, both changed. I made them better. The names that I had picked before was something of a similar concept, but those words just fit better. And I have to go back and look because I can't remember off the top of my head. So
there was, in fact, a cat behind me. She normally sits on the back of my chair, but since she has an audience today, she has to.
Yeah. Yep. She has to go hide because people want her to be there. The contrary cat. Mary said that she bought an extra copy of Bath of Doom to give away. Thank you so much, Mary. I hope they do enjoy it. Larry asked, if the aliens are defeated in TD Hunter 4, what will keep them from coming back? Or is there space travel in Lynn Raven's future? Well, it's not space travel. It would be interdimensional travel because they're trans-dimensional monsters, not aliens from outer space.
I'll be right back. Gadget has something stuck there.
Uh-oh, save the cat. So I can't really answer more than that, Larry, because you're going to have to read the fourth book to find out. So yes. All right, it is 10:30. I think we should probably wrap up because David and I do need to get to bed. Oh, I was making sure there was no other. Edwin Neely asked the question about John Faust in Avalon. He also asked, finally, how much is Sir Kipling an active agent of the light and how much is John Faust a sleeper agent of the dark? I told him I was not going to answer that question because it was too good of a question and I really can't answer it at all without going into spoilers. So, but I'll just tell you that's a really good question. I hope y'all are thinking about that. And then another one was, so for consideration, Edgar has apparently sussed out that Lynn equals Larry, but how close are the others in the Scotty's Wolf team on that realization? Well, I'll tell you, Ronnie. Well, Ronnie has no idea. Ronnie is clueless. I will definitely tell you that. I'm not going to comment on the other two, but Ronnie for sure has no idea. So
this is how Luna thinks I can work.
Yep. She wants to be held all day long. but that's not how work happens. So she is frequently disappointed in her life and our choices because we're not constantly holding her. Oh, hi, Tony. Tony's here. He said, I knocked it out of the park at the LaGrange Book Fair. Thank you, Tony, for inviting me. It was great being there. And let's see here. Apparently, I understand gibberish. Yes, certain kinds of gibberish. It's back to Zoom karaoke. Bye, Mary. Enjoy your Zoom karaoke.
We have toddlers, so we're
yes.
like frequently fluent in gibberish.
Good. Yeah. So everyone, if you have not already, check the comments. I'm going to post another link to TD Hunter Book 3, Behind the Veil. If you had not grabbed a copy, go grab a copy, ebook or hardback. And of course, you can find the previous books, Into the Real and Through the Storm, on anywhere books are sold, ebook, audiobook, and mass market paperback and hardback. You can also get the mass market back.
What? You should post a link to the shirt.
Oh, I thought I already did that. Here is the link to, no, I don't think I did. Here's the link to David's Chenoweth Game shirt if you want the little cat Chenoweth Game shirt.
It's super soft. Like, this is a really nice shirt.
Yeah, the shirts are really nice. You can get the mass market paperback and hardback of Into the Real and Through the Storm from my website if you want signed copies. Just make sure you email me as soon as you put in the order so that I know to sign them before they go out the door.
If you want a signed copy of any of my games, I can do that too. Just
make sure to email
Make sure that you email us.
Yep. Alrighty, well, I think we're going to get out of here and go to sleep. Thank you so much, everyone who came and asked lots of great questions. I managed to get through them all, but it was a close thing. You guys definitely kept me hopping. So good job. You've risen to the challenge. And if anybody else who is rewatching this after the fact thinks of a question or really wants to know something, feel free to post it in the comments. I will try and check out the comments tomorrow and just look through and see if there are any questions that I didn't get. I will try to answer them. So feel free to post more questions in those comments and enjoy the rewatch. So, all right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Robin, Brian, Julian, Cindy, Greg. Great to see you guys here. Hope you enjoyed it. And yes, there are kitty cats everywhere. We have lots of cats. She doesn't like being held against her will. She has very firm opinions on when she wants to be held.
She wants to be held, but she wants me to pet her. The problem is I'm not petting her.
She's the opposite of Gadget. Gadget is a shoulder cat. She wants to be up here on your shoulder. She does not want to be in your lap. Lena's the opposite. She wants to be in your lap, but only when she wants to be in your lap. She doesn't want to be put there because then it was not her idea and she has to run away. She wants you to wait patiently and quietly for her until she decides she wants your lap.
Luna will walk over to me and paw me she's got like a cat bed. I put a table next to my desk. She was laying on it long enough for me to put a cat bed there. Now she'll wake up, and I don't know if you guys can see this or not. But
yep, she'll paw. Yep, there she is. She's pawing. Mew, mew.
She's like, hey, I want you to pick me up now.
All right. Love you guys. You're awesome and amazing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for asking questions. Hope you enjoy the books. And thanks for the awesome book launch of Behind the Veil. It got a #1 Amazon bestseller orange tag and is doing great. And keep telling your friends about it. And Christmas is coming up. Buy some books for those friends and family.
And games.
Yes, and games. Sorry. It's my default is books. But yes, David's games are amazing too. If you guys like family playing games with your family and your friends, Cat Match of the Game and Outflanked both are great options, and I'd be happy to sign and personalize any of the books to people you're gifting them to. If you want, just make sure to email me and ask for the details. So good night. I'm going to officially end the stream.
Bye.
Bye.